we have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a black man provides in a home is money, and if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value. And what my research has proven to me is that a black man, any man in any home, provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our black homes. He provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there's so many other values, and these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone. And most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain that a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation.
What's going on, everyone? Talks with Kenny here today, and she's 100% right there. And this is one of the reasons why I end up becoming conservative, because my father, many people, if you're a first-time watcher, you just recently subscribed, my father was a Republican. My dad voted for Bush. I know people didn't like Bush, but my dad voted for Bush, and he voted for Obama in 2008, but then 2012, my dad decided to vote for Mitt Romney, and one of the reasons he told me, and I always remember this conversation with my father, he told me, hey, don't just believe Democrats because they're all talk. Pretty much, my dad say, like, you judge someone by their actions, not their deeds. Oh, sorry. You judge them by their deeds, not their words. He said, oh, Obama said all the right things, but he didn't do anything. It was just business as usual, right? What he did didn't really help black people. It didn't really help anybody. And my dad was trying to say that he did his research, and he said, he always told me this. And the gratification point she was talking about, that's the kind of self-confidence your father instills in you. Like, imagine the confidence I have to come out here on the internet with a chance, with the opportunity and the chance that 100,000 people can see this video and talking about the things that I talk about. It takes some sort of confidence to really believe what you're saying. And my father instilled that in me, right? I don't look for the approval of other people. I don't care about the approval or the disapproval of strangers. I know what I believe in. I know how I was raised. Christian morality, right? Even if I don't identify as Christian, a lot of the things I believe in, they align very well with that worldview. We're more frightened than hurt. We suffer more from imagination than from reality. And that's what the black community is suffering right now. The black community is suffering from imagination, right? And this black image of, oh, the absentee father, because the reason for this video today is that, shout out to Vince Dow. He did a video about CNN and how they try to debunk the fatherlessness problem in the black community, when all they did was sugarcoat it. Oh, look, there's fathers. There are fathers in the lives. Yeah, you're talking about the 26% that are in the kids' lives. But what about the majority? Majority of kids are raised in a home without their biological father. And I'm in that statistic. My dad, they co-parent. Now, I'd rather co-parenting than single mother parenting. Right? Because single mothers, correlation doesn't equal causation, I understand. But there's a big, significant factor that's not being accounted for, that single mothers just raise kids that's have a higher propensity of committing crime, dropping out of school, teen pregnancies. Hell, they even open them. A woman raised under a single mother are more likely to experience sexual assault. Sexual predators target girls from single mother households because they know their mom is not 9 times out of 10 not at the home. The Democratic policy, war on poverty, and incentivize the woman to pick the government. This is the baseline black conservative argument about the systemic problems in the black community. And systemic meaning not a system that actually caused a problem, but the culture. As the black culture is systematically causing the black community to pick these outcomes, enforce these outcomes, guide us in those outcomes. Oh, a black man, to show you not a lame, you got to get girls, sleep with a lot of girls, have sex, indiscriminate sex, lack sexual discipline, have kids all over the place. That's the culture that the black community, the black culture incentivizes men to do. And for women to be materialistic, look at men as ATM, right? And you don't care about like, I had my black progressive friend. He's coming up a lot in these videos lately, but it made me remember a discussion I had with him, how he talked about how fathers are not needed in the household. And I looked at him like he was crazy. I'm like, yo, I had my father in my life, and he was instrumental in how I came up. How are you gonna say the father is not needed in the household? Then he talks about how black women are have a higher education, have higher income than black men, and I was like, yo, all that is monetary. It takes more than money to raise a child. So what are you talking? Like, what about the values? What about the guidance? What about the protection? Oh, you can get police. He was trying to make all kinds of justification for why the father is not needed in the household, and I took issue with that. Honestly, I did. But hey, let's get into Sabaj Ali's clip more, and there's more to this video. I kind of clip it into 2 parts, but let's check out this next clip in the video, and I'll espouse more a little bit into my thinking. Let's take a look.
Unfortunately, as I say, since money has been used as the measure, many times if a black man does not have money to give us, we won't even let him see his children. We won't let him spend any time with it because he does not give us whatever the child support is. And I'm not saying that we don't need money to raise a child, but I try to explain to black women that raising a child consists of much more than feeding, clothing, and sheltering it. That's maintaining one. To raise one, you need a return of the parental coalition of the father and the mother to put the proper values into the child. Many of our boys, when we raise them alone, they grow up with the female emotional mechanism. They are suspicious, they are doubtful, they're disrespectful of womanhood, they are bitchy, they can't make a decision. And many of our girls who grow up in a home where there's no man present, they go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have any idea how to live with a man day to day, how to prepare a proper meal, how to be a mother, how to just be in love in the home. Most of what our people and our children especially have learned about how you have a relationship, they learned off of television. And television doesn't represent our needs. And so a lot of the confusion has come, from outside agencies that we have not recognized just how detrimental it has been to us as a people.
Mic drop.
Yeah, she's right. And a lot of the things, and I'm a young father. I'm 27 years old. I have 2 kids, one 2-year-old and one just a week old. And I notice how much of what they learn is through modeling behavior, right? My son sees me read a whole bunch of books, and he likes reading books. He wants me to read. Daddy, come read books. Come book. Me and my son like to read this book called The Boy Who Would Be King. It's a book about Marcus Aurelius, and it's a child's book. I'm teaching him values. Hey, here's the values. You can choose what happened to you, but you can't control what happens to you, son, but you can control how you respond, right? Those concepts, those values. I'm teaching that to my son because end of the day, what's worth it? Bless you. What's worth it? You focusing your energy on things that you can't control, or focusing your energy on things you can control. And that's what I'm trying to tell the black community. Hey, a lot of the problems that we face in our community today, a lot of the impact is on our hands. And we have the chance to fix it, but it has to be driven by us. And like you said, a lot of the things we learn about relationships, we get it from TV. And now in 2023, a lot of kids are learning stuff about relationships from social media. Girls out here having these weird kinks, like they like being choked and stuff. I'm like, yo, where you learn this stuff from? Social media, right? And if you're raised in a single parent household, you're more influenced by the community and the environment surrounding you. And now if you had a strong family, 2-parent household in the hood, you still don't espouse the same values that the other kids do. And I noticed that even with me, as anecdotal evidence, I came from a co-parenting situation. My dad has always talked to me. My dad say, hey, pick up your pants. You don't sag your pants. You're a Haitian. You don't do that. Right. So when I went into my friends and I'm playing basketball with them, they see I have my pants on straight. I know how to speak proper English. They look at me. Oh, you're a lame Kenny. Oh, you a nerd. They like to make fun of me, but I didn't care because I'm like, oh, I am who I am. You take it or leave it. Right. And that's how I am. And I think it's mainly due to the fact that I had my father in my life. And my mom, as much as I like to complain about her and single mothers in general, is that single moms, y'all don't know if y'all actually raise your kids right until you hear it from the kid's mouth. Because in my view, only the children can judge how well the parent was at raising them. Because a lot of single moms will come out here on Father's Day, obviously popular trope in the black community. The mom will sit here and try to claim Father's Day and she say, oh, I'm the father and the mother, right? When in the case, you're not. There's no way you can be the disciplinarian like my father could be. My dad can get me in line more than my mom could. And my dad used to live miles away from me. One phone call from him, and I was dreading it. I was like, damn, I don't want to hear from that. And that's the kind of power that men have. And I think until single mothers are humble enough to recognize that, hey, there are some biological differences between men and women. Men are more biologically appropriate for this type of role in the household. And I think that's what we need to get back into. We need to get back to a family structure that works, not sitting here trying to reinvent the wheel because we want to protect a single mother's pride. No, that's not the ideal situation. And I think we should strive for all communities to focus for an ideal and not to just make people comfortable in whatever family structure or lifestyle that they want to do, right? We can't sit here and pretend that all families are created equal. They're not. We can look at the outcomes. All the outcomes are disproportionate. Hey, if you come from a 2-parent household, the odds are in your favor that you'll be something productive and successful in life. If you're raised in a single-parent household, the odds are against you for becoming successful and productive in life. Right? LeBron James made it out of the hood, but he's an exception to the rule. Most people don't make it out of the hood because of what? Single mother household. Mom's not there to guide you because mom's busy going to work and trying to pay for the bills. But hey, I digress. I think I've been rambling a little bit too long. It might be a long video, guys. But check out this clip with this interview with Larry Elder and Shahrazad Ali. I hope I said her name right. I probably didn't. But they're going to start talking more into how did we get here? And it's interesting how she saw this coming. This video, those clips you saw, they were 30 years ago. 30 years ago, she was making these points. And you can see it today in 2023 that she was proven right. And this is why I place my trust in people like Larry Elder and stuff, because they can show me historical evidence. Like, hey, look, this individual, Thomas Sowell, called it out. Hey, you're subsidizing single motherhood, and you're gonna create an incentive where women will be wanting to be more and more dependent on the government. The welfare administrator was like, no, that's not going to happen. 30 years later, look what happened. That's exactly what happened. But hey, I digress. Let's get into the conversation between the two, and I'll give my thoughts at the end of the clip. Let's take a look.
Shahrazad, are they finally listening?
You know, it's amazing when I look at that and listen to it myself. That was 30 years ago, Larry. And we're dealing, just think about how that has accelerated up until 2023.
Right.
Because that's what I saw then. That's what I had talked about then. And I was trying to reach the parents. And now I have inherited their children. Their children are reading my books, talking about they used to see me on television when they were little.
And you saw the expression of that young man. He was hearing this for the very first time.
Well, it certainly gives a lot of men peace, and they start to at least accept that they are not crazy and that they knew something was wrong. Nobody had ever pointed it out, because we as Black women have had a very difficult time in accepting our part of the responsibility for the failure of our home and the children.
Yeah, no, that's the main point driving this. This is why the left will waste their time trying to find other ways to recreate the nuclear family, or like the village concept. Oh, it takes a village to raise a kid, right? Because they don't want to go back and admit that, damn, we were wrong to question this institution. They don't want to do that, right? Then there was a viral video just went out recently where a woman, she didn't want to take accountability for her own actions by snatching a mic out of some educator's hands. This is the kind of thing that the Black community condones. Black culture teaches Black women that, oh, you're not accountable, like you're not at fault for anything. And they'll be stubborn and they'll go 10 toes down, like they'll double down on their debauchery, bad behavior, right? Negative attitudes, because they're like, oh, that's just who I am. Right. And this is what they attribute to their skin color. Then when you don't like it, oh, I don't like this behavior from you. Oh, you're a racist. This is the game they play. Right. And I want to go back to some of the points that Sabaz, I hope I said her name right, is pointing out here, is that Black women, or women in general, they never want to accept the part they play into the deterioration of the family. Right. When they decided to take the Democrats' offer with the welfare state and say, oh, I don't need no man. That's where it started. Oh, I can raise a kid by myself because I'm reliant on the government. Right. And here's a statistic I wanted to bring out, that like Black women are the least likely to be married. And when they do get married, they're the most likely to be divorced. So essentially, it's the women breaking up the family for the most part. And that's why I'm saying that a lot of this Black culture stuff, I don't think is going to change until we get Black women to acknowledge and understand that what they're doing is a problem and that they need to fix it. Because the only way you can address a problem is to admit that it's there. And we have, like, the Black community has a relationship problem. And I've been pointing this out for a while now. But it's because the two people are playing by two different incentives. And Shahrazad, she points out in this next clip, and she gives a more in-depth position of how we ended up here. How did, from the 1960s, where 25% single motherhood, all the way to now at 2023, 70, almost 80% of kids in the Black community are born without a father. Let's take a look.
In 1965, Shahrazad, 25% of black men entered the world without a father in the home married to the mother. As you well know, now it is over 70%. I have argued, you tell me what you think, that the welfare state has incentivized women to marry the government and has incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility.
That's exactly what happened. It was really kind of like a trick because for so many years, for at least 30 years, the welfare made black men think that as long as they stayed out of the home, they didn't have any responsibility and that they would take care of their woman and children. And then, lo and behold, about 30, 20 years ago, they decided, oh no, you owe us for that child support, and we're going to collect it or we're going to put you in jail. We're going to take your tax money. We're going to garnish you all of your wages. We're going to do everything we can to get you involved. Now, that hostility that was created between the mothers and the fathers just because of child support. And that was because the men had been allowed to slide for all those years and not take care of their responsibility. And we have to remember what goes on between a man and a woman behind closed doors. That's the most private thing in America. And so we don't know what that relationship was. Most of us only know about our father, whatever our mother told us, because she and him didn't get along. And so she gave us our first impression if he was not there. And so it's been very difficult for our men, especially our young men, to come to terms with the condition of their fathers. Think about how difficult it is now for men to have work and have enough money to live and pay child support for maybe 2, 3, or 4 different children, sometimes by 2, 3, or 4 different women. And so we didn't get that lesson, and our men now are hostile about it. And us women, we live in a society where most of the benefits have gone to us. And it has supported us, Larry, made us think that we are better than our man because we achieved this on our own. And as you said, we're not. We just been married to the government. That's our man, and he's been taking care of us and keeping us away from the real man whose responsibility it is.
And this is why I never really believed the strong and independent. Hello, give you 1 sec. All right, we got our surprise guest. So, what I was saying before I got interrupted. Yeah, so essentially, you see how the Democratic Party, essentially, this is who it was, Lyndon B. Johnson. They created an incentive structure where the black man made a choice. Hey, I don't have to take care of my kids as long as I stay out of their life. Okay, you and the government can take care of it, and then this is how Democrats get you. And this is why I say that the Democrats will create the problem, create the moral hazard, and then they will come back and say, oh, we're here to fix it. Child support. When they hate, like she said, for 10 years, like within the 30-year period, 20 years, the black man was like, oh, yeah, just go ahead, take care of it. Put this incentive culture in black culture where black women sit here thinking they don't need no man, right? And then when government find out that, damn, all these people are intentionally doing this, now we have to put a penalty. Here's child support. Now black men get roped into it, right? But for some reason, black men are the second most loyal voting demographic for the Democratic Party, when it's the Democratic Party that incentivizes you to abandon your responsibility as a father and then punish you for after, they let the culture and the change and the status quo become, oh, black men just runs out of their responsibility for their kids. And now you get hit with child support to justify what? More government control. And if you look at the welfare state, the whole war on poverty, it was meant to reduce poverty. It hasn't. Poverty rates are still at the same level pre-welfare and after welfare. And what that shows you, it shows you that welfare was a means to an end. Hey, we using the justification that, oh, we're trying to reduce poverty, but in reality, no, we're just trying to make you comfortable in poverty to justify our own existence. All the Democrats have to do, and this is a lot of the bureaucratic state in America, is they have to look like they're trying to do something. And that's the whole facade that we're seeing through today. Because to me, results matter more than your attempts. Hey, you attempt something, it's not working, try something new. Obviously, what we've been doing for the past 30 years with welfare has not been driving the result that we're looking for, a lower poverty rate. If poverty rates are still the same after and before and after this institution existed, then what's the justification of keeping the institution? It's not. It's just to enforce dependence, aka the black woman. And Saraz is on the money on that point right there, right? That black community has been conditioned through our culture, through incentive structures, and that's why I said the government is in charge of creating incentives They create an incentive. You do those behaviors. End of the day, it's still on the black community's fault. The black women and the black men of the previous generation still chose to go down this path without fully understanding the detrimental effects of their choices. And then they pass down this culture, this incentive onto the next community, onto the next generation. The next generation grows up and say, oh, this is normal. And this is why whenever a black person comes out and call this ish out, there's such an uproar. Oh, you're making us look bad. How am I making you look bad? By pointing out the reality of the situation. Because remember, I don't suffer from imagination. We need to point out the reality, because if we don't point out the reality, then you don't actually create any change. Because if you hear fighting ghosts, oh, we're trying to solve problems that's not really a problem, and then you're surprised that, hey, nothing has changed in the last 50 years. We've been voting Democrat 90% for 50 years, and we're still complaining about the same problems that we're complaining now. It's because, yes, you've been solving problems for ghosts. Oh, racism is a problem. Racism is a problem. No, it's a minor problem in your life now. It's a possibility. It could be a problem, but probability-wise, you have bigger problems like education, crime. Those things need dealing with. But instead, the Democrats make you focus on something that's already been solved and that can't be solved any further, right? Wasting your energy in the wrong place. But hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know I kind of I got thrown off because my son decided to cry mid record, so I got thrown off a little bit. But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. What you think is one of the biggest cause of fatherlessness? Is the government? Is it personal choice? Is it both? And who's more at fault about this situation that's happening? The community for accepting these entitlements without doing their due diligence, or the government for offering these incentives? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'd like to hear it. And thanks for watching to the end of the video. I know it's been a long one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and peace.